It's really about focusing on all the amazing other things that your business kind of brings to the table, rather than that exciting part of, yes, we can put jets on Webjet. Of course we can. You know what I mean? That's really exciting, but that's not for everybody. But if you say, hey, listen, we can, bring, all of those workers that you need to Alice Springs, you know what I mean, and we could do it at a much less cost than driving them all and all that hourly rate, and really just focusing around the numbers, and how we can benefit each and every one of our end customers who never thought of private as an option.
Today we have Royce Crown, the founder and CEO of Monarch and Fly Ad Hoc. Welcome, Royce.
Thank you. Thanks for having me,
Oh,
Ryan.
it's great to have you here. We're interested. Tell us a bit about your business.
Well, yeah. So our business is founded in 2017 with the focus of automating ad hoc charter, essentially. So that's a non-scheduled aircraft hire that needs to go from A to B with a certain amount of passenger, like any amount of passenger or cargo, and we need to do all of those internal calculations, including fuel burn, weather prediction, all of that. So that's where we founded it, and now that we founded that technology and we have that ready and available, we can now externalize that to third parties for the purpose of booking in real time.
That is amazing. And how did you get started?
Well, I'm a commercial helicopter pilot of 24 years now, which is every time I say that number, it goes up a year, and it just makes me feel old. But at the end of the day, yeah. So helicopter pilot, did some brokerage in the U.S. and Canada. Really loved dealing with the end customers, and the challenges that brought. Came out to Australia and started a little bit of a brokerage company with some technology. So we built an app which essentially would allow people to book, and then we would just do everything manually behind the scenes, and call the operators and get everything sorted. I think one of the wins that we had there was we got Hamish and Andy, Cool Boys in the Frontman tour, which was one of our first customers. So when they utilized an aircraft, highlighted some holes in the industry and in the system, but it also was really great in getting it out there. People really started to recognize that this is a need here in Australia. So we really wanted to build the right product. Hence, we started building Monarch Monarch Globals Trebek, which is the software that automates charter, and then Fly Ad Hoc this year. Yeah.
Great. And so where do you think you bring the most value to the marketplace now?
Where we bring most value is that we're really the first company to automate charter on behalf of the operators. So our software sits with the operators and allows them to automate their internal processes, their operational constraints, and put that into a centralized location. So now it doesn't matter who within their business is quoting; they're all quoting on the same factors. Our system, like I said, has a weather prediction model that can calculate the head and tailwind way in advance with a 96% accuracy. So I mean, with all of these tools in place, the operators are very secure knowing that their aircraft is being priced correctly. And now they have the ability to capitalize on e-commerce opportunities. So this is something where charter has kind of been alleviated. Take an OTA like an Expedia or a Webjet or a mix and match. I mean, there's never been the ability to offer charter as an option for flying because it's never been automated from the supply side of things. So we spent 5 years developing that supply chain, that technology to help the supply chain. And now that that's built, all the exciting opportunities are coming. So we can now plug those systems in, much like a GDS system for commercial, into third-party aggregators and companies to aggregate private charter. And even if they want to break it down by the seat and do whatever they want with it, at the end of the day, it's now automated and it's direct from the supplier. So that's where we bring the most value.
That is phenomenal. And so a bit of a mindset question for you. What had to change in you that took you from kind of those early startup days to, now having that level of success that you have?
Yeah, I think I've alleviated the naivety of things. We went through an accelerator program. Back then it was really about you have a really good product, have a really good business. If you bring a lot of traction, then you're gonna open the eyes of the investors to get more money in and scale at a very close rate. They make it sound so easy and simple. It's just not really the case. And prior to Monarch, I have owned restaurants and things of that nature. So I know business is always difficult, but the way that technology industry operates is actually a lot harder than what people think. Like you can have an amazing business bringing in amazing money, but it has to be a specific type of money. You know what I mean? Before an investor is actually going to dip their check into it. And I think over the last 5 years, that's one of the biggest learnings is that nothing's going to be handed to you on a solo platter. You can even get an amazing investor that says they're going to support you from behind the scenes and whatnot, but you can't rely on that. I mean, again, their job is to give you money, let your company do what they need to do, and probably try to assist where they can. But most times than not, they're probably concentrating on that next deal that they've already invested in as well. So, I think it's really rely on yourself, trust yourself, get rid of that naivety that everybody's out there to assist, and kind of just do what's best for your business.
Mm. Yeah, for sure. So, what would be like one or two, I guess, points of inflection that have really given your business like that solid growth?
Yeah, I think so. The one would actually be just don't concentrate on investment. I mean, a lot
Mm.
of founders will sit there and they'll try to build a product to entice investment to come in so they can grow their product. And I think you need to alleviate that mindset once and for all. Investment will come to you when you're in a place that they're comfortable with, and I think chasing them actually takes a lot more time out of running the business. So, and this is a mistake that we made. So it's really about learning from your mistakes. But if you take 6 months chasing investment, you don't get investment, you've just wasted 6 months of traction and scalability, which essentially would have paid your bills because you were so sure you were going to get that investment. So that's probably step number one. And I think, sorry, I guess advice number one, but advice number two is, really concentrate on finding the right team, team that you can, work with the right team culture, with the right skill set, and not to overhire immediately just because you got a little bit of money in the bank. It's really about making sure you have the right key people in place because, a founder's life is the most lonely position in the world, but it's also, if you can't spread the workload into the right people and feel comfortable that they can handle those problems and those issues as they arise and not everything is falling on your shoulders, that's really how a company is going to grow across the board. So
Mm.
yeah.
So, once you realized not to chase the investment so hard, to what extent did that impact your business?
Well, it's funny because our business is built around technology and charter. You know what I mean? So we actually have two aspects. Technology is really about SaaS model, which is very minimal in comparison to the opportunity of charter. So, and I'll give you an example. Our current business, we charge say $150 a tail to automate. And that's great. So operators here in Australia, their average fleet size is about 4 to 6 aircraft. So you're only looking at about $800 to $1,000 per operator. And then there's about 52 operators that charter here in Australia. So that SaaS is never really going to be too high, especially for this region. But we could do one charter out of say Hong Kong to South America, which is a $1.3 million charter USD, and we clip 10% of that. So you can see that even if we did two of those, if you look at it from a financial standpoint, your SaaS is like 0.2% of what your actual revenue is because of the massive opportunities and the price tag that comes with charter, especially in the cargo aspect. So, that's it's very hard to get investors to kind of see that opportunity. And the other thing is understanding of our business. We're charter, we're non-scheduled, which is probably less understood than commercial airlines. If we
Mhm.
built this amazing technology for commercial airliners, I'm sure we would have got investment being thrown at us. But because it's in an industry that not many people can kind of wrap their heads around, it's any given time, any given day, any amount of passengers or weight. I mean, like I said, it could be a heart that needs to go from the Women's Brisbane Hospital to the Mater Hospital. Like I mean, they just can't wrap their minds around that. They still focus on, oh, it's not scheduled. I don't really get it, and it's hard to showcase that opportunity. So once we got over the fact that that was not a fast thing to happen, so in order to get investors to understand what we do and make sure that the industry was ready for us. COVID was actually really good in that aspect. When all airlines and their commercial services had faulted because of a virus, the only thing flying was charter. So it was ad hoc charter. And that really opened people up to, if I want to get cargo here, the only way I can do it now is by getting a whole aircraft or a part of that belly. And that's kind of showing the focus of, this is why non-scheduled technology is needed and needs to be automated so that you guys have access to that when the next, or anything happens in the world, that you can still run your business, knowing that that part of the side. So that's just kind of one area. But yeah, I think that's what we had to understand was it's not a quick burn. People just don't get it, so we have to almost educate them, and that might take a little bit more time. And in the meantime, we'll concentrate on our scalability, and this is where I kind of drop that point where it's like, we'll concentrate on what's best for our business. So we will continue to do charter, even though that doesn't really count for our valuation from an investment point of view, even though it's a mega amount of money. What they really want to concentrate on is that little SaaS model, which again we understand why, but isn't really the opportunity in what our business is focused on.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. So I'm curious then, Royce, what advice would you give to a business owner or CEO who really wants to break through to their next level?
Yeah, every industry is different. So, it's one of those ones where, this is our particular, headache for our particular industry, and it really comes into effect, that difference between commercial and charter. So, it could be considered as niche, even though it's a multi-billion-dollar niche. But at the end of the day, each industry is kind of different, and if you have market fit for your industry and you're wanting to do a startup and you have market penetration, even if it's small market penetration, but you've been able to find that product market fit, really just hone in on that. You know what I mean? And try to scale that without, you know, again, spending so much time wasting on trying to get investment to scale quickly. You just have to keep scaling. You know what I mean? And the investment will come, and it'll come at a time where you probably will need it the most, and that's really to jumpstart that massive scalability from an international point of view. But it's really just important to keep that focus on that product market fit and finding other avenues into which you can capitalize on your technology or your business to put a bigger dent in that big market. I think that's probably what my advice would be. Just like I said, rely on yourself, rely on your team, and just get the business done.
Yeah, I love that. So along this amazing journey that you've had, creating this brand new product, that's first of its kind in Australia, and that sort of thing. If you could go back 5 years and give your slightly younger self a bit of advice, what would that be?
I would probably say, you know, I would probably would have concentrated more on specific opportunities, even though it doesn't change what we built and how we built it, but more when going to the market and explaining what it is we actually do. You'd be surprised from the first pitch deck that we had. We've probably done 6,000 different variations of it, and the message kind of gets tweaked as you go along. I think knowing what we know now and how to explain it a little bit better to our clients as well as to our end customer and even to investors probably would be something I would give myself advice on is concentrate on the social good aspect of things. So like I said, you mentioned the word chartered aircraft, people's brains automatically go to business jets and the high net worth individual flying in a helicopter for their business meeting, and yes, charter is that, but that's usually where people's brains automatically go, but they forget about charter as an entire industry. Like freight and cargo is charter, and like I said, that hospital helicopter that's got to deliver that organ is charter, or what I mean, even the social good around green, biofuels and electric vehicles. Like we build technology that can do all of this from an aerial perspective, but we never really focused on that. But that is something that investors probably would like to hear. Is yes, we provide a product that enables operators to produce a greener version of their aircraft rather than a fossil fuel burning one. I mean, and focus around that, especially in our industry, is that optimization of that aircraft. You got two people flying from Sydney to Melbourne on a jet. Yes, that seems like it's a bit of a waste, but there's four additional seats on there. So how do we maximize that capacity? And then when the aircraft's got to get back from Sydney to Melbourne, back to Melbourne, we got to make sure that that's filled as well. So we're optimizing that aircraft to its fullest capacity. And again, we built technology that can do that. So it's really about focusing on all the amazing other things that your business kind of brings to the table rather than that exciting part of, yes, we could put jets on webjet. Of course we can. I mean, that's really exciting, but that's not for everybody. But if you say, hey, listen, we can bring all of those workers that you need to Alice Springs, you know what I mean, and we could do it at a much less cost than driving them all and all that hourly rate, and really just focusing around the numbers and how we can benefit each and every one of our end customers who never thought of private as an option.
Mhm. Yeah, that is phenomenal. Finally, Royce, who can you best help, and if they want to reach out, how can they get in touch?
Yeah, so we we can best help multitudes of businesses. So businesses who travel a lot in their business. This could be barristers, lawyers. This could be electric, gas workers. Any of these companies we can benefit because we can connect them directly with operators in real time to find a suitable aircraft to essentially save money. But we can also benefit airlines and operators, which is our focus customer for us and our technology, because each operator that we grow, each airline that we grow, brings new assets to our technology, which we can expose that to the world for the purpose of booking. So I think that's probably where we help best. So it's a big range, but it's really even just that family who doesn't want to get back into a crowded airport, doesn't want to be standing in line, or in a crowded airplane, and still wants to go on that holiday. We have options that are very comparable to commercial pricing, and that's really that's that trigger in the brain. Is if you're a family of 4 or 5 or 6, we can actually be quite comparable. Still get you on that holiday, but very safely. You know what I mean? You're on an aircraft with just you and your family. You're on, you're not in a crowded terminal. You're actually in an FBO lounge, which is just for you, fully sanitized. So it's really about kind of educating the Australia and the world that this is an option for you. It's not like the 80s where you needed $1 million in order to fly a helicopter. It's actually quite inexpensive these days, and an actual option that could be had. Is really about accessibility for them, and that's where we want to bridge that gap. Is that
I
accessibility?
love that. And do you have a website that we can access?
Absolutely. So operators can go to monarchglobal.com. That's MONARC, no H. It actually stands for Monica and Royce Crown, which is my me and my co-founder and my wife. Um, and flyadhoc.com.au is your aggregation site, so you can actually go on there and view aircraft that are ready to be booked instantaneously. It breaks it down by the seat, so you know what it is per passenger. There's a cool little section where you can add on catering packages, animals, so people flying with dogs or cats or who don't want to leave them in the belly of an aircraft, you can actually have them sitting next to you on a seat. So that's where you can go. So flyadhoc.com.au for purchasing or leasing an aircraft, and then monarchglobal.com for the technology side of things.
Wonderful. Royce, thank you so much for coming on and for the value that you've been able to bring. Thank you.
No, my pleasure. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.